All right, so this is Act 1, Scene 5, Part 2 video. So we just got to the part where Romeo and Juliet are about to meet. So remember, Tybalt's angry because he knows Romeo's there, but he's not going to do anything about it. Romeo just saw Juliet for the first time and said he's never loved until now, which is like false because he loved Rosaline. He was talking about how she wouldn't be with him. So why do people think Romeo and Juliet were truly in love? Well, when they first talk, and I want you to look at this on SparkNotes, okay? So go to No Fear Shakespeare and make sure you are looking at this. The first 14 lines that Romeo and Juliet exchange are in a sonnet, and sonnets were meant to be very loving, and just show a lot of emotion. And so Romeo says, if I profane with my unworthiest hand this holy shrine, the gentle sin is this, my lips, two blushing pilgrims ready stand to smooth that rough touch with a tender kiss. So Romeo pulls Juliet aside and basically starts saying, oh my gosh, you're beautiful. I need to kiss you. That, y'all, was very brave of Romeo because even holding hands back then was serious. So how does Juliet react to this? Well, she's 13 years old. This would be like a senior in high school, like approaching Juliet. And she's going to be, probably like excited that somebody older than her likes her. So she says, good pilgrim, you do wrong your hand too much, which mannerly devotion shows in this. For saints have hands that pilgrims' hands do touch, and palm to palm is holy Palmer's kiss. So basically Juliet is saying we have to pray first and we have to hold hands first. And Romeo says, have not saints' lips and holy Palmer's too? Well, don't saints kiss too? And Juliet says, a pilgrim, lips that they must use in prayer, well, yeah, but also those lips go to confessionals and they pray. And then Romeo says, oh, then, dear saint, let lips do what hands do. They pray, grant thou lest faith turn to despair. Y'all, Romeo's pickup lines are out of control. He says, let our lips do what hands do when they pray. Really, Romeo? Really? Then Juliet says, saints do not move. So basically she means saints do not initiate involvement in earthly affairs, Romeo. She says, though grant for prayer's sake, even though some prayers are answered. Romeo says, then move not while my prayer's effect I take. Thus from my lips, by thine, my sin is purged. And then he kisses her. Juliet says, then have my lips the sin that they have took? Oh no, my lips have just sinned. Romeo says, sin from my lips? Oh no, my lips have sinned. Oh, trespass, sweetly urged. What does that mean? Well, that means Romeo is saying in substance that he's happy. Juliet calls his kiss a sin. And then he's very smooth with this. He says, oh, then give me my sin again. Oh, let me take my sin back. So what's he do? He kisses her again to take his sin back. Juliet says, oh, you kissed by the book. If anybody could write a book about kissing, you have probably written it, Romeo. But what's the problem with this? Juliet has never been kissed before. This is the first man that Juliet has ever kissed. And I'm going to guess that Romeo, this probably isn't his first kiss. I don't know. We're never told that. We don't know, but we do know this is Juliet's first kiss. So, of course, she's going to be like, oh, my God, that was amazing. You wrote the book about kissing. And then, all of a sudden, they're interrupted by the nurse. And she's like, oh, Juliet, your mother craves a word with you. And Juliet's like, no, don't take me away from this hot guy that just kissed me. What are we doing? So she gets pulled away, and Romeo finds out that she's a Capulet. Oh no, he's just kissed his enemy. And then Juliet says, "Nurse, who is that? Who is that boy I was talking with?" She says, "Oh, that's so-and-so." And she's like, No, I'm talking about him." She points to Romeo. She goes, "Oh, I think his name is Romeo, and he is a Montague, the only son of your great enemy." And then Juliet freaks out, y'all. She says, "My only love sprung from my only hate, too early seen unknown, and known too late. Prodigious birth of love it is to me that I must love a loathed enemy." And the nurse is like, "What?" Juliet says, "It's a rhyme I learnt even now of one I danced with all." And then the nurse is like, "Come, we must go." And so one important line in this is where Juliet says, "My grave is like to be my wedding bed," which is foreshadowing. She's like, "Oh my gosh, my grave is going to be my wedding bed because I love my enemy. Like, my parents are not going to have this." And so we end Act 1 with Romeo and Juliet like, "Oh crap, I just kissed my enemy." But is that going to stop them? No. As we read in the prologue, it does not stop them. So how are they going to be together? We will find out in Act 2.